Hi, thanks for tuning in to MTDC's Growing Tech Talents with me, Syed Radino Omar. And today we're going to talk about pil kurus. When we talk about pil kurus, there's so much misconception about what it is. And in fact, if we take a step back, we have to ask the very difficult questions of even understanding what is the need to have all this type of supplements and all that, because there is a great difference between tackling overweight problems and tackling obesity. So today we are going to be talking about a fantastic company that is finding solutions to obesity by using plant-based solutions. So it's going to be a very healthy conversation that we have today with the CEO of Medika Natura Sdn Bhd, Abdul Razak Mohd Isa. Razak, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you for having me today.
So like I said, I just wanted to start the show with just something that everybody is familiar with, which is the concept of a pil kurus. But then there's actually a lot that goes on behind the scenes when dealing with problems of obesity. Tell us about this.
Oh, okay. Before I jump straight to the what we do, basically as a company, Medika Natura, we are clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. Our focus is in research and development and producing botanical drugs of Malaysian origins. So one of our focus area is on obesity. So we have been tackling this disease since 2015, where we have conducted various studies from preclinical up to the clinical study in Malaysia and also in Indonesia. So interesting part, but when you mentioned earlier about pil kurus, there's a lot of misconception, also abusive kind of approach when talk about pil kurus. What we want to do is not about kurus. What we want to have is a healthy weight for our population. That's the most important thing, not becoming kurus. Kurus can also be you are sick, not necessarily you are fit. So tackling that, this is very important that we differentiate what is healthy weight and then what is unhealthy weight. So category-wise, we have this overweight and obesity. So how we differentiate that is through the mechanism that has been established from the clinical point of view. So obesity is considered disease. If you are not obese, then you are still considered overweight and not fall under the disease category. So as a company, it's our responsible to produce high quality products that eventually could treat obesity in Malaysia and hopefully internationally as well. So the ingredient that we use is widely known in Malaysia. We call kacip Fatimah. That is a Malay word for that plant, or in Latin is Labicia pumila. So this is very interesting. From the traditional context, this plant was used by women for firming and toning the abdominal muscle after giving birth. So if we translated it loosely from the traditional to science, firming and toning the abdominal muscle is about the improvement of your visceral fat waistline. So this is where the beauty of the traditional with the application of science, and then we work on obesity.
So I want to understand a little bit more about that, because it's very interesting. We're taking something that's old and known, but we're giving it a new breath of life. But before that, there was something that you mentioned that caught my attention, which is clinical stage. And I feel that this is something that needs further explanation, because I understand that there's preclinical stage and clinical stage. And the differentiation in this is where a lot of the products in the market lies. So tell us about that.
Okay, good question is from how we differentiate Medika Natura with other players in the industry is when company involved in healthcare, the easiest route is for you to enter as a dietary supplement. But under dietary supplement, you are not allowed to make any clinical claims. You're only allowed to go what is allowed by MPRA, our regulatory body in Malaysia. So to differentiate that, this is where Medika Natura comes in, where our product, we conducted a robust study from the preclinical, which is under preclinical, there are two components, what we call it efficacy and also safety. So this efficacy and safety are in accordance to the regulatory standards as well, the GLPs, the GMPs, and also the GAP requirements. And then moving towards clinical, this is where we applying the standard under ICH GCP, which is also Malaysia regulated. So this is where it makes us a lot of different, because our product will go through from preclinical and clinical, and we have the science to back up the claim. It's not something like you just plug from the sky, making claims everything under the sun, that is not what we do in our business. So this is where we position ourselves is equal to any other big pharmaceutical company globally, because the process is similar, identical process from preclinical to clinical.
Right. So, in other words, the processes that you put your not only your product through, but also your talents and the people that are devising and creating these products for you, they go through the exact same standards and measurements versus some of the bigger guys the global players out there. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, talking about talents, this is something very interesting. We look into the complete value chain in botanical drugs or clinical stage company. We start with the planting material up to the product itself. So planting material, we are involving the farmers, the agriculture side. So this is the talent. We are looking to agronomists, those experts in plant science, biotechnology to produce a tissue culture. So this is one part. And then we move on to the middle value chain. We're talking about extraction. To produce the extract, the active ingredients of this particular plant. So we need those we have for biochemistry, chemical engineers, technical background in extraction activities, so producing according to the GMP requirements. So this is another talent. And the last talent would be the clinical side. This is where you involve up to the physicians, the doctors, the pharmacists, to produce and to conduct the clinical study in accordance to the standards set by our regulatory body, MPRA.
Given that you are committed to finding these solutions, as you've mentioned, and you've gone down the plant-based route, why?
We see that options, we want to give options to the consumers, to the practitioners, because we see the trend now is moving from synthetic to more natural-based, from food, from personal care to medical solution. So this is where we come in, where we work on natural resources, producing active ingredient that is extracted naturally, and then without any chemical infusion in our formulation, and then that is give assurance that it binds well with our natural body requirements, because not everybody willing to be infused with chemical. So this is an option, and we see the growth to that. The trending is there.
Right, okay. So let's take a moment to step back a little bit and understand, how this all started for you. I understand that this is a business that you have basically stepped into alongside a university mate of yours. What gave you the confidence that this is the area that you wanted to look into?
Okay, Medika Natura was established in 2006, and then we were first introduced to UPM, and then we got the first break through MTDC as well. We received the grants to commercialize research from public university. And then from there, we learned there's a lot of opportunities in Malaysia, because as a country, we are among the 12 mega diverse countries in the world. And then according to the records, we have about 3,000 medicinal plants that are waiting to be unlocked. So this is opportunity that we need to explore, exploit it, but sustainably to the use of science and clinical approach. So this is where we see the opportunity, and then we see the trend picking up from globally, moving towards plant-based botanical approach rather than synthetic approach. This is a niche as a country and also as a company, because not many can copy what we do, because you need to get access to the raw material, which is only available in this country. So that is where we see the opportunity.
And throughout this entire journey, okay, I want to understand a little bit more about the acceleration of talent. But before that, you mentioned COVID-19. What has obesity got to do with COVID-19 and the solutions that you're creating?
Okay, basically, when we look into all the data locally and internationally, obesity has been identified one of the comorbidities that cause a lot of issues in COVID patients, to the extent it causes death. Why? Because of the inflammations in the vital organs. Coincidentally, when we started our obesity study way back in 2015, and then we conducted our study in 2019, we noticed that in our study, there's one particular inflammation marker that inhibited with treatment using our proprietary Kacip Fatimah, which is when COVID-19 took place locally and globally, the data that was produced shows that obesity, inflammations, interleukins, cytokine storms that cause all this havoc. So we found out that actually, we found the similar interleukins in our study in obesity. So that's a close relationship to what we do and then the potential of COVID-19. So we hope that with the study that we're going to conduct with IMR soon, which has already got clearance from the Ethics Committee, Malaysian Research Ethics Committee, we hope that it could be one of the first homegrown Malaysian-made therapeutic treatment to treat category 3 at least of COVID patient.
In terms of accelerating the talents and the skills of the talent pool that you have, especially now that we are moving towards digitalization and you are able to do your research remotely and all that, do you find this challenging? And what are the processes that you put in place to ensure that whatever science that you're applying to your products and to your outfit is always relevant and ahead of time?
Oh, okay. This is where knowledge is important, but how you use that knowledge is more important to connect the dots between what we're going to do and then how issue what we want to tackle. So basically, our focus will be the non-communicable disease, the NCD, which is, but now potentially also communicable disease as well, COVID-19. We see that the Malaysian talents that residing in public universities, they are also looking for opportunities for them to exploit their knowledge in the context of the industry application. So this is where when we collaborate, we identify the strength of that particular researcher and university, and then same time also we look into what could be the potential solutions that we can work with them.
Of course it is, which is probably also why you've got a very good relationship with MTDC. So describe to us about that relationship.
Oh, okay. We came a long way with MTDC and we are lucky because of their belief and trust in us. We got the first break in 2006 where we commercialized research from UPM. And then in 2015, I remember the story when we commercialized USM product, which is started, Prozari initiated the research on Kacip Fatimah for obesity. And we commercialized it, and we met with Puan Mariamah from MTDC, and we brought and showed to her the product that we have produced. So we applied and we got additional support, which that support for us to acquire the rights from USM and then carry it through for the next journey in commercializing the research in Malaysia.
And as they say, the rest is history.
Yes, yes, yeah, the rest is history. Hopefully that history will be something for us to cherish.
Something for you to cherish, but also something that will bring benefit to the nation.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now, before we round things off, I just have one curveball question that I just want to ask you. So for somebody who is heading a company that is dynamic, is looking at plant-based solutions to better living because you're trying to deal with the problem of obesity, what is lunchtime like at home on a Saturday for you?
Oh, okay. Sometimes you forgot to eat your lunch.
That's not healthy.
But actually, when you're in healthcare industry, you have this subconscious mind that you want to make sure that you stay healthy because it will be defeat the purpose when you are not healthy, but you're saying that promoting that people to be healthy. So my lunch is try to be modest and then try to eat not as overeat and try to be more healthier in choosing the right ingredients and the right food or the drinks itself.
Safe answer, but is nasi the enemy?
Try to be more modest on that, a small portion.
Thank you very much, Cik Razak. We wish you the very best of luck. Now, you've been watching MTDC's Growing Tech Talents with me, Syed Freddy Omar. So we'll see you again in the next episode. Bye-bye.